a lot of times these police precincts or these DA office, they actually get like a hard on for like an artist or someone who they feel has evaded them. They're used to working with the judge and working the criminal justice system and of course, and they have favorable outcomes. So when somebody beats them, they usually try to get their goal.
NBA YoungBoy is now caught up in a situation that has fans questioning everything about his freedom and what the future holds for him. Behind the money and the music, why was riding dirty in Utah when someone snitched, leading to a traffic stop that could have sent him straight back to prison? The truth behind how Mellow Rackz and the driver kept him from catching another case is way more complicated than people realize, and we're about to break it all down. Yo, what's good, fam? We're about to get into a real story of street loyalty and federal pressure that's been shaking the hip-hop world. This is the kind of moment that shows you who's really with you when the heat turns up. Before we jump all the way in, let me keep it real with y'all. Social media has been going crazy over how Y got pulled over in Utah and somehow walked away clean while the people around him caught charges. But we're here to separate facts from fiction and show you exactly what went down on that highway. This moment changed everything for NBA YoungBoy and his circle. The multi-platinum rapper was riding on Interstate 15 in Utah when a state trooper pulled the car over for what they called a traffic violation. But here's the thing, this wasn't a random stop. Somebody talked. Someone tipped the police off saying there were drugs in that vehicle. And the feds have been waiting for any chance to put YB back behind bars. Now don't get it twisted and think this was just bad luck or wrong place, wrong time. The reality is way deeper than that. This looked like a coordinated move to catch YB slipping. And if it wasn't for the loyalty of the people in that car with him, he'd be staring at serious federal time right now. That's the part nobody wants to talk about. And here's where it really gets interesting. The feds are still salty about that presidential pardon, and they haven't stopped trying to find a way to lock him up again. So let's walk through it. Around 4:30 p.m. Utah time, NBA YoungBoy is riding in a vehicle with 3 people total. He's in the back seat, Mellow Rackz is in the passenger seat, and there's a male driver behind the wheel. They're cruising down Interstate 15, probably thinking everything's smooth, when the red and blue lights light up behind them. In the streets, everybody knows when you're moving with someone who's considered hot, and Y is definitely hot with the feds. You've got to move carefully. But according to Fox 13 Utah, police received a tip saying this specific vehicle had illegal drugs inside. That's straight snitch behavior. Somebody either close to YB or closely watching his movements called the cops and told them exactly what car he was in and what they expected to find. The Utah Highway Patrol trooper pulled them over and claimed it was for a traffic violation. But we all know what was really happening. They had that tip, and now they were looking for any probable cause they could use to search the car. And this is where the legal side gets tricky. In Utah, marijuana is still completely illegal. No medical, no recreational, none of that. So the moment the trooper walked up and said he smelled weed, that alone gave him the green light to search the entire vehicle. According to the official statement from Utah Highway Patrol, after a probable cause search was conducted, illegal drugs were found and seized. That's straight from the report. Drugs were in the car, and once that happened, everyone inside knew exactly what time it was. This was the moment where loyalty gets tested, where you find out who's really solid, and who's going to crack when the pressure hits. But this story goes deeper than just a routine drug bust. Mellow Rackz and the driver immediately stepped up and claimed ownership of the drugs. They looked the officers in the face and said, "That's ours, not his." They took the charge on the spot, fully aware they were about to face serious legal trouble in a state that already has NBA YoungBoy under a microscope. Reports later confirmed that charges were being reviewed by the Utah County Attorney's Office for the driver and Mellow Rackz. Not for YB. NBA YoungBoy walked away from that stop without being arrested, without being charged, because 2 people decided his freedom mattered more than theirs. Now let's be real about why they did that. This is where the real industry dynamics come into play. NBA YoungBoy is the money. He's the one bringing in millions, paying bills, feeding families, and keeping a whole circle comfortable. If the police take him and lock him back up, everybody connected to that success feels it immediately. Mellow Rackz, the driver, their families, all of them depend on YB staying free and continuing to work. And make no mistake, catching a drug charge in Utah is no light situation. We're talking possible prison time, heavy fines, and a criminal record that can follow you for years. But they looked at the bigger picture and made a calculated choice. Better them than him, because if Y goes down, the whole operation goes down with him. No tours, no music drops, no checks coming in. They were willing to put their own freedom on the line to protect a source of income for everyone around him. For those who don't really understand street loyalty and how crews move, let me break it down. When you're part of someone's circle, especially somebody as big as NBA YoungBoy, there's an unspoken rule. The person generating the money, the face of the whole operation, gets protected no matter what. It's not just about friendship or blind loyalty. It's about survival. It's about keeping the money flowing so everybody can eat. But here's the crazy part about this entire situation. The feds are still treating NBA YoungBoy like public enemy number one. And that's why this traffic stop feels like more than just a routine bust. Back in 2024, YB was staring down serious federal gun charges. We're talking real prison time, the kind that could have completely shut down his career. Then, out of nowhere, he received a presidential pardon. It shocked everyone. The feds had their case ready. They were prepared to lock him up. And suddenly, it was all wiped away. You really think those federal prosecutors just let that go? You think they shrugged and moved on? Not a chance. They've been waiting for any excuse to put him back in their sights. DJ Academics even spoke on this, saying YB needs to move carefully because Utah, in particular, has been watching him closely. And remember, this is the same state where he got caught up in that prescription drug fraud case back in 2024. He paid a $25,000 fine and probably thought that chapter was closed. But Utah didn't forget. When you beat the system once, they remember you. When you beat them again with a presidential pardon, they start looking hard for strike three. Authorities in Utah even admitted they were examining whether YB's past criminal history could be used against him in this situation, even though he wasn't the one who claimed the drugs. That alone tells you how badly they want him back behind bars. They're searching for any angle, any way to connect him to those drugs, and use it to violate his probation or parole conditions. And this isn't just about one traffic stop. This is about a pattern that has people seriously worried about NBA YoungBoy's future. Real talk. YB moves like a crash dummy. He doesn't seem to learn from his mistakes, and he acts like going back to jail doesn't matter. That mindset makes him dangerous, not just to himself, but to everyone around him. Let's be honest about his history with drugs, because this isn't his first situation. Y has been tied to drug-related issues multiple times throughout his career, from prescription fraud to possession cases. He keeps putting himself in positions where the law can easily grab him, and every time he beats a case or avoids serious time, instead of tightening up, he goes right back to the same behavior. That's classic crash dummy behavior. A crash dummy is someone who keeps doing reckless things and expects a different outcome. They don't learn from consequences. They don't change even when the pressure is building and the walls are closing in. And by that definition, YB fits it perfectly. The streets have been saying for a while that YB is always around drugs, whether it's for personal use or just having them nearby. Either way, he's constantly putting himself at risk, and in his position, that's beyond reckless. This is a multi-millionaire rapper who just received a presidential pardon. That's not being real or street. That's self-destructive. Think about it. You just dodged federal prison. You're making millions. You've got a family relying on you, and you're still riding around with drugs in the car. That's not toughness. That's just stupid. No cap. But here's the bigger picture that people need to understand. The feds don't just want NBA YoungBoy because of drugs or guns. They want him because he represents something they can't control. He's a young black man who made millions on his own terms, built massive influence, and beat their system more than once. Every time he walks away from charges, it makes them look weak. Every time he beats a case or gets pardoned, it challenges their authority, so they're not going to stop. They'll keep watching him, keep waiting for him to mess up, and keep looking for ways to build something against him. And if they can't get him directly, they'll squeeze the people around him. They'll make examples out of Mellow Rackz and the driver to send a message. Protect NBA YoungBoy, and you're going to pay for it. The real question is whether YB is going to learn from this. Is he going to realize that his freedom is hanging by a thread and start moving differently? Or will he keep crashing out until the feds finally get what they've been waiting for? Because the stakes right now are serious. If YB catches another charge, any charge, while he's still under the microscope from that presidential pardon, the feds can come at him harder than ever. They'll say he didn't learn his lesson, that he's a danger, that he deserves the maximum sentence. And this time, there won't be a pardon to bail him out. Mellow Rackz and that driver bought him time. They gave him another chance to get his life together and move smarter. But if he wastes that opportunity and keeps moving reckless, then their sacrifice means nothing. They'll be sitting in court facing drug charges while YB is right back in prison. For anyone who hasn't been keeping up with NBA YoungBoy's legal history, let's be clear. He's been arrested multiple times since the start of his career. Assault cases, weapons charges, drug charges, he's dealt with all of it. He's done prison time. He's been on house arrest, he's worn ankle monitors, and through all of that, he keeps falling into the same patterns. Some people call that authenticity, saying he really lives what he raps. But there's a difference between being real and being self-destructive. You can stay authentic without constantly putting yourself in positions where you could lose everything. This is a conversation the culture needs to have. We praise artists for staying street and not changing when they get money, but at what cost? How many talented rappers have ended up locked up or dead because they refused to adapt? How many families have suffered because someone wouldn't move smarter? NBA YoungBoy has the talent to be one of the greatest rappers of his generation. He's got the fan base, the work ethic, and the ability. But none of that matters if he's behind bars. None of it matters if he keeps giving the feds reasons to come after him, and then there's the people around him. Stuck in an impossible situation, Mellow Rackz took a charge for him. That's loyalty. That's sacrifice. But what happens if she's sitting in prison while Y is free, making music with new people? What happens if the driver is left with a criminal record and can't find work? Will YB take care of them the same way they took care of him? In the streets, loyalty is supposed to go both ways. If you take a charge for someone, they're expected to make sure you're good. That means money on your books, legal help, and taking care of your family while you're down. That's the real test that comes after all of this. But the music industry is full of stories where people took charges for artists and got left behind once they were no longer useful. I'm not saying that's definitely what's going to happen here. I'm just saying that's the reality of the game. Mellow Rackz and that driver can only hope NBA YoungBoy remembers what they did for him when it's time for him to return that same loyalty. At the end of the day, this situation isn't just about drugs, traffic stops, or it's about power, loyalty, consequences, and the real price of fame. It's about a young man who's made millions but still can't fully leave behind the lifestyle that helped build his name. It's about people willing to sacrifice their freedom for someone else's success. And it's about a system that's determined to make an example out of anyone who manages to beat it. So the real question is, what happens next? Does YB learn from this close call and start moving differently? Does he realize his freedom is worth more than any temporary high or street credibility that comes with having drugs around? Or does he keep crashing out until the feds finally get what they've been waiting for? And what about Mellow Rackz and the driver? Are they actually going to face serious charges? Or does the Utah County Attorney's Office decide it's not worth pursuing? And if they do end up facing real time, will YB step up and take care of them the way they protected him? These are the questions the culture needs to be asking. This whole situation should be a wake-up call. We've got to stop glorifying reckless behavior and start expecting our artists to move smarter. We have to hold them accountable when they put themselves and the people around them in danger. Because every time an artist gets locked up or killed, we lose more than just a headline. We lose a voice, we lose talent, and we lose a piece of the culture. NBA YoungBoy has been given chance after chance, more chances than most people will ever see. He's beaten cases, received a pardon, and had people willing to sacrifice their freedom for him. Now, the question is simple. What is he going to do with those chances? Is he going to keep moving reckless and throw it all away? Or is he finally going to realize he has too much to lose? The feds are watching. Utah is watching. The entire hip-hop world is watching, and one more mistake could cost him everything he's built. What do you think about NBA YoungBoy's situation and Mellow Rackz taking the charge for him? Do you think Y will learn from this? Or is he going to keep being a crash dummy until it's too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and click the video on screen for more breakdowns on the legal trouble surrounding today's biggest rappers. This is real street politics, real consequences, and real loyalty being tested. Stay safe out there, fam. And remember, no amount of street credibility is worth losing everything.